always found winter to be a difficult time for photography. The shorter, colder days make it more challenging to get out, and plans regularly get hampered by the weather. Like previous years, this winter I've headed out many times to film videos, only to come home with a number of incomplete stories. Well, welcome back to the northeast of Scotland. It is freezing today. While winter arguably can be one of the best times of year for landscape photography, there's no denying that creativity often seems to be at its lowest at this time of year. For me, it certainly does anyway. This winter, I decided to approach the season from a different angle, and rather than feeling irritated by the weather and my lower than usual creative flair, I decided to embrace it. I spent much time walking in nature and simply appreciating the beauty and silence of winter. As much of nature slows down in the winter, I decided this year to join it. By connecting to this slower lifestyle, I noticed many rewards come my way. As I walked through the woods on the 2nd of February, beginning to feel the first signs of spring in the air, I felt inspired to sit down and speak about what this winter has taught me. It's certainly been very transformational for me, and I hope by sharing my experience that there may be something in it for you too. There's a number of things that I feel like I want to speak about in this video, and namely I think it's in relation to winter and the slowing down of the seasons and how that affects our photography and creativity. And I've always found for me personally that I've been kind of stuck in this strange world of loving being outdoors and enjoying for many years landscape photography, and on the other hand getting to the winter months and feeling this real deep need to slow down, to almost not quite go into hibernation, because I love going out and walking and still connecting with nature, but this idea of slowing down, of not doing as much filming, as much speaking, as much exploring, and just being. And I always kind of felt a bit conflicted, because we all know that in the landscape photography world that winter months tend to be some of the best months for landscape photography. It's where you're more likely to get the dramatic lights, the interesting changeable weather, the snow and ice can massively transform a landscape, and because of the changing in temperatures you're more likely to get really vibrant, interesting sunrises and sunsets. But for me, I always find that kind of spring to early autumn is when I personally have more energy, when I want to go out more, when I want to film more, when I want to do more photography. And that doesn't really coincide quite with what we're taught in landscape photography. And this year I have regularly heard this phrase of you've got to slow down to speed up. And that might seem really contradictory, but it is so true. If you think about it, we are nature. You know, we're part of nature, and we live this lifestyle now where we live in these houses that are often so far removed from where our ancestors would have lived, and we're more and more disconnected now from nature than we ever have been before. But everything in nature tends to slow down in the winter. You know, most things stop growing. A lot of wildlife will hibernate. A lot of birds will migrate. There is some birds and some animals that do breed in the winter months, but the vast majority of nature tends to slow down and get much stiller and much more quiet. And because we are nature, it is natural for us to also go into a little bit of a state of hibernation. And I've always really struggled with that, because I've always thought, but this is the best time of year to do photography and to be out and to get the light. But I've realised this year that I've actually just allowed myself to accept that. I haven't been going out loads and doing loads of photography, and when I have gone out and done photography, I haven't really filmed. I've just gone out, done photography and gone home again. But I've really enjoyed the process, because it's allowed me to just embrace being in nature and to really allow myself to get that hour or so in nature every day without the need or the desire to do more. And days like today really speak to me. Like right now I'm sitting in this hide and I'm overlooking this beautiful loch. And right now we have got the rain falling on the loch, and it is so beautiful. These beautiful droplets of water just falling so lovely on the water's surface. And it's moments like this that I realise that this is what being out with your camera is all about. It's about just embracing nature and connecting with it, but also beginning to see again. And today, I think, is the first day since the beginning of winter that I began to see things wakening up again. The birds this morning are beautiful, and I'm watching them flitting around. There's this almost lightness to the air this morning. It feels like the temperatures are rising, and it just feels like things are beginning to waken up again. And because nature around me is starting to waken up again, I feel like I'm starting to waken up again too. And it's getting me so excited for when spring does arrive, and I know I will have more energy because every year I do, and it's getting me excited for what the next few months have in store. And I really just wanted to speak about this idea of going into a bit of hibernation state in the winter, because I know a lot of people do it. And we live in a world nowadays where when we do go into a place of kind of solitude and relaxation and kind of coming away from the world a little bit to recharge ourselves, but there's often a little bit of stigma attached to that, and that almost unaccepting value of it, that, you know, we should just keep going and we should keep doing things. And I love to advocate to everybody that we should try and get out into nature every day, and in the winter months it's particularly beneficial because we need that time in nature to waken us up, to keep us going, to move, to connect. But we don't have to feel like we have to be out in nature for long periods of time like we often do in the summer months. And we also don't have to feel like we have to be as productive in the winter as we do any other time of the year, because it's meant to be a time of slowing down. We naturally want to slow down, and naturally everything else slows down with it. And it's lovely to accept that, because this year I've really accepted it and really embraced it, and it's allowed me to massively recharge my batteries and to focus on other things that will then make me stronger and more resilient, so that when work and everything else starts picking up in the spring, you have the energy and the motivation to really put yourself into it. And the same goes with photography and creativity. It's that acceptance and the beauty of the seasons and the beauty of us just being at one with nature like we're meant to be, and allowing ourselves to feel what nature naturally wants us to feel. And I just love that. And I also love these moments like this where I'm out this morning by myself in this woodland location and there's not a single other person around. That's what I love often about the winter, is when you do go out, you often have it to yourself. It's that quiet moments, that solitude moments, that being able to really listen, to feel and to take in what's going on around you. You don't always get that in the summer months. It's far more energised and buzzy and there's people going around. But this, right now, is so beautiful. And I could sit and just watch this beautiful scene all day. Whether I get any photographs or not, it really doesn't bother me, because it's part of being out there and just embracing this beautiful moment. And it's so lovely.
That feels like one of the biggest lessons that I've taken from this winter. The sitting back and just admiring the world around me. It gives a real sense of connection and allows for ideas to flow. Ideas that will feed into my photography and creative endeavours when I feel more energised once more. Winter for me this year has really been about resetting and planning for the next phase of life. And by embracing that planning stage, it has helped me to feel so excited for what's to come next.
In my last video I spoke about 5 things that could be holding you back in your photographic journey, and really the purpose of that video was to help you acknowledge that your photography is brilliant regardless of what anybody else says, and that we shouldn't compare ourselves to others, that we should just get out there and photograph what we love photographing and allow ourselves the opportunity to just get out and enjoy it. And when we take images that we're not completely happy with, it's a learning opportunity. It's not something to feel negative about and dwell on. It's a chance for us to go, okay, I don't really like this image. What is it I don't like, and how can I change it in the future? And that sort of video is what I am so excited to really implement when the springtime comes, to get out there as much as possible for me personally, to really embrace my images, to love every single photograph I take, even the ones that have got loads of imperfections in them, because they're going to teach me. I can learn from them, I can grow from them. And the more imperfections and things that happen in photographs, the more learning opportunities there is. But in order for me to really embrace that, I have to have these moments of solitude, these moments of stepping back from the world, to recharge, to rejuvenate myself, so that when spring comes along and I do naturally feel more energised, I have as much energy as possible to go out there and make these things a reality. And that's what I'm really wanting to embrace in my work moving forwards, is the really embracing the seasons. You know, how do the seasons make you feel? Winter makes us want to cuddle up, to go indoors, to really cozy up in front of the fire, to eat warm, hearty foods, and still to get out and to embrace these moments wrapped up with our hats and our scarves and our gloves. But we spend less and less time in nature naturally in the winter, and that's okay. I've really understood this winter, I think, with me stepping back, what my dreams and my ambitions are for my photography work, for this YouTube channel, for my creative endeavours. And by becoming clear about that in my head and giving me that time to step back and reevaluate these things, it just makes things clearer for progressing forwards. It allows you to really think about who you are, what you enjoy, and what you want to create for the future that can be of service and of benefit to others. I did touch on this a little bit in a recent newsletter that I sent to my website subscribers. It was about this year, I really want this channel to be an inspirational platform for you all. I want to do more videos that can teach you things, not just about photography, but about the benefits of being in nature and doing nature photography. The opening your eyes up to the different opportunities that nature has, and to help you to see the world in a new light through photography. But it's only been through stepping back in the winter months and really thinking and evaluating this that it's given me the opportunity to realise that's what I want to do with my channel moving forwards. Because I've realised this year that every single one of us has gifts and talents and things that come naturally to us. And one thing I've noticed about me is that I've always been incredibly observant and sensitive to what's going on around me, and I can sit somewhere like this and be completely content. A lot of people would just sit in this hide, be bored out of their wits, or they might be focusing primarily on the wildlife. But for me right now, I'm sitting here and I'm taking in everything, I'm noticing everything, from the raindrops on the water, to the shapes of the trees, to the colours around me, to the distant rumble of traffic on the road just opposite this loch, the different textures and patterns within the reeds, and the beginning, and the sounds of the birds, the sounds of the water droplets on the roof. Things that a lot of people aren't really sensually aware of. And I just seem to be able to notice it all. And I'm like, how can I open other people's minds to this? And obviously photography and this YouTube channel is a great way to do that. You know, I can give you guys exercises maybe to do this year, and ideas and challenges to really help you to connect with nature and photography in a deep level, to almost like how I do, and reap the benefits from that, but also understand what the benefits are, because there's no denying that photography and nature is incredibly healing. And the more time we spend in it and the more time we connect to it, the more grounded we feel, and often the more relaxed we feel. And I'm now learning the science behind all of this, which I can't wait to combine with the creativity element and the nature element. So I guess the message I really wanted to portray in this video is, you know, if you find yourself retreating in the winter months and not getting out as much as maybe you would in other months, and you feel a bit down and disheartened about it, you know, it's natural to go into a little bit of hibernation over the winter. I would highly encourage you to get out and embrace nature regardless of the time of year, and I'd highly encourage you to do photography every week if you can, to keep up your skills and to keep your creativity going and give you something to channel your emotions. But it's natural not to be as productive in the winter as we are in other seasons, because we are part of nature, and if nature needs to slow down to rejuvenate itself and to renew itself, then we do too. And when we become to realise and accept that, I just think often this season becomes easier. Because I know I used to be somebody who really struggled in the winter months for various reasons. But one of those reasons was my lack of productivity and actually not channeling what I needed to channel in other ways and giving myself that time to rest and rejuvenate. It's beautiful. So, so beautiful. I'm now going to share with you some images that I've taken over the last few months that I've not filmed videos about, but just to show you some of the little things that I have been photographing this winter to keep my creativity up and my skills up and to keep me connecting with nature. As always, I want to say a huge thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to support my channel, you can of course click the super thanks button below or sign up to become a monthly channel member. All of the support and gratitude I receive from you all will go towards the continued growth and development of this channel. And of course, like always, if you're interested in any of the services that I offer, from my online mentorship to any of my workshops, you can find the links to all of them in the description box below. Get out and embrace nature, but also realise the beauty of rest and rejuvenation in the winter months, because it's so important to giving us that renewal and allowing us to have the energy that we need to get out there into the world and embrace the new beginnings that spring brings when the time comes. I look forward to seeing you all again next time.